Hey gang, welcome to another episode of Vitamins. My name's Vernon Smith, and this is the only show guaranteed to talk about records starring me. That being said, if you're a new viewer, and we got some new subscribers, awesome, welcome aboard. If you're a regular oldie-timey subscriber, welcome back. If you haven't already hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, then you're probably smart for not doing that. Today, I'm going to be talking about a record convention that I went to several months ago. First record convention I ever went to. It was here in the downtown New Orleans area, and it was called Record Raid. Wop, bop, ba, wop, bop, ba, wop, bop, ba. They'd had these before, but I had not been buying or collecting vinyl in, almost 20 years, so I missed the first few of them. But there was one at the beginning of December of the year of our Lord, 2022. So I went, brought my daughter with me. She's 12. She got back into records last year. Well, she got into records last year when I was getting back into records. And so we thought, what better way to celebrate than to come together and go to a record convention. Now, being a comic book artist, I've been to, both as an attendee and as an exhibitor, plenty of comic conventions over the past decade and a half, if not longer. But I didn't know what to expect from a comic convention. I've also been to a couple of Star Trek conventions when I was a kid. But yeah, didn't really know what to expect from this. And I gotta say, I was not disappointed. It was a decent size. They had, a couple dozen vendors, maybe like 40 or 50 actually. All set up at somewhere just at little 8-foot tables, somewhere at bigger booths made of a bunch of 8-foot tables pieced together. There weren't any crazy deals. I mean, they had some. And it also wasn't like, everything just being overpriced with vinyl making a comeback nowadays, which it's been doing for the past 30 years. But I got some good stuff at some decent prices. We went with, we were just planning to spend 40, 50, 60 bucks. Not a whole lot, but just where we could get a couple of good things or get a whole bunch of inexpensive things. And we ended up getting a couple of good things. She got The Who's Next on vinyl, which was a good album. Quadrophenia, I believe is on that. Who Won't Get Fooled Again? Is that on there? I don't know. I know the Teenage Wasteland. That one's on there. I think she might have gotten another album as well. I know she got a couple of cassette tapes, as did I. And those I do have on hand. She got one by this guy Roger. Never heard of him, but yeah, looks like half the 80s guys that put out records. There was a distinct look with many of the performers back then. She also got Billy Joel, 52nd Street, which I have on 8-track, but it's a borrowed copy just to test out my 8-track when I was testing out my 8-track player. Not a huge Billy Joel fan, but the other 8-track that I did get is actually a pretty good one. Let's just take a minute and look at it, shall we? Yeah. Oh, yeah, The Stranger. That's what it was. Which has got some good songs. Love You Just the Way You Are. Moving Out. That's actually, yeah, probably my favorite Billy Joel song. Anthony's song. No, that's Vernon's song. What else? Vienna. She's always a woman to me, and only the good die young. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. And then they have that again. Then Get It Right the First Time. Everybody Has a Dream. But if they had like The Longest Time on there, I think that one's actually whoa, 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 whoa. My favorite Billy Joel song. Anywho, so I picked up a couple of cassette tapes as well. Elton John, Greatest Hits, because I like hits. Sorry. Some people put out doo-doo albums that just have a couple of good songs on them. So that's why I like Greatest Hits, because then I get all the good songs. I mean, unless it's a band that puts out good deep tracks, but I don't know. With Elton, it to me is the same as like Bowie, Queen, Stones. Yeah, those are kind of some bands that I just like the hits on, because when I've gotten full albums or full discographies, bit of a letdown. And, dude, 1984, Van Halen, had this when I was a kid, and this is not a greatest hits tape, but it pretty much is, because, I mean, you got 1984, the little synthesizer solo song, Jump, Panama, Top Jimmy, Drop Dead Legs, Hot for Teacher, I'll wait till your love comes down, Girl Gone Bad, and House of what? Gotta open this cassette. House of Pain. What? Bag it up, back it in. Let me begin. I came to win. Battle me. That's a sin. Not that House of Pain. Jump around, jump around. But Van Halen song, House of Pain. Don't remember how that one goes, but maybe I'll listen to it now that I got a cassette player. And she will be able to listen to these. Well, at least if she gets some of her grades up, because I also picked up for her, not at Record Raid, but just recently for the halibut, a Yamaha cassette deck. This is a Yamaha something or other. KRW262 looks like. It's got double cassette and buttons with features and shit. So I'm a good dad. But she can only have it if she gets some rockin' grades on her next report card. So anyway, those were the cassettes that I got. But we weren't at Cassette Raid, were we? No. We weren't. That's next week. Or actually, it's not, because I just made that up. It's Record Raid. And I got a couple of records as well. One was this one by the band Ugly Americans, Who's Been Sleeping in My Bed. For those of you into the metal out there, the lead singer of this band is a young man named, oh God, what was his name? Simon Bob Sinister, who was singer with Corrosion of Conformity for a good bit. Being from New Orleans, you know who else was in COC? Pepper Keenan. He went to my school. He was in high school when I was in elementary. I remember him because he was friends with my best friend's older brother, who was kind of a lunatic, who got into a fight with some Willie Nelson looking dude at a NoFX show. First NoFX show I ever went to, back in 1990? 91? Something like that. Whatever the Rib Tour was. Yeah, you also got Danny Hooligan on guitar, Chris Eubank on bass guitar, and John McClane on drums. What? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Now this. Here's the record. Ooh, who's that spooky skeleton on the cover in the bed? Don't worry, it's just this gal right there. It's not a real skeleton in bed. It's not even a real bed frame. She's just holding up a sheet. That is some early 1985 type Photoshop going on there, boys and girls. This was on Death Records, a division of Metal Blade Records. And let's see, is there anything inside? Oh, we got the record. What is this? A second record. And it's the same record. Is this a double album? No. This is the one that I showed whenever I did my record cleaning tutorial. This was from Hurricane Katrina. I pulled it out of my 9 foot of water flooded apartment because this was a record that I had a really hard time finding when I was a kid. One of the kids that got me into punk music, young lad by the name of Paul Mills, who's also Paul Switchblade of the band McGillicuddy's. Rest in peace, buddy. He also got me into, well, not into comic books, but into drawing comic books as opposed to drawing comic strips when I was a little kid. He and I would do comic books in high school together. And he was one of the guys who just had crazy extensive knowledge of like obscure punk bands. And this is like in the late 80s and early 90s, before there was an internet. And him and this other kid, Taj, were just musical geniuses. Blew my mind back then too, like how they just knew all this stuff. And they were also like pen pals with people in prison, and also G.G. Allen. It's weird. I think they were friends with his brother Merle. But anywho, Paul had an Ugly American shirt for this album, and you know, me being the can't admit I don't know something when I was a kid, I never asked him about the band, never asked him about the album, but I was always looking for it, like at record stores. And even at a Sound Warehouse, which was like a major label record store, there was still like a slot with the Ugly Americans label on it, but it was never in stock. And then after like years of searching, I did find the copy on vinyl. It might have been when I used to hit up this record store up in Indianapolis in Broad Ripple. I forget what it was called, but they had tons of records for like $3, $4, $5. So I went up there twice, and like the first time I got a bunch of records because I had 2 friends living up there. Then I went up another time with like $200 and just left with a stack of records, and that was pretty much the only reason I was going up there. Oh, and to visit my friends. But so yeah, it took me many years to find this record, so I definitely pulled it with me when I was salvaging stuff out of the Katrina floods. But I didn't have a sleeve for it, so I found this record at Record Raid for like $10, I think. So I was happy, and I got it. And yeah, I got a second copy of it now on vinyl. But I have the whole thing, so it's just something that was a little personal to me. And you got lyric sheet on the insert, and then the boys in the band playing, Simon Bob Sinister there and there, and then the other guys, whoever said, is it John McClane on guitar? Yeah, it's not Bruce Willis. Is it Danny Hooligan on drums? No, Danny Hooligan on guitar. John McClane on drums. Yeah, he looks more like Bruce Willis. And Chris Eubanks on bass. He is the ace of that bass, I dare say. So yeah, that was that record. And I got another one. I'm just going to set this aside on the floor. The other record was one that I've been searching for as well, and is only available on vinyl, but might not only be available on vinyl, but has never been reissued on vinyl, unlike many of the band's other records in their catalog. It is Hey Jude by the Beatles. This was from 1970, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to give a run through on a record by, one of the greatest bands of all time that's probably been talked about by millions of others over the decades. But yeah, it's a good record. It is a collection of B-sides and I think some unreleased stuff at the time. And even though it's at the end of their career, it has various things from the beginning, like I Should Have Known Better and Can't Buy Me Love, Paperback Writer, but then you got things like Ballad of John and Yoko, Hey Jude, Revolution, Don't Let Me Down, Old Brown Shoe, Rain, I Don't Mind. All in all, a pretty good haul. Even if not a very extensive one, still very happy with what I got. And there was some stuff that I didn't get that I should have got, but I was going with just a set amount of money in mind, because that's what keeps me from living on the streets. That's right. So maybe I'll go back again if they have another one, which it looks like they do, either once a year, maybe twice a year, but at least once a year. So look out, December record raid. I'm coming for you. Alright, that is it for now. Have a blessed day.